Hey, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be. Craig at Hiking Pipes. And it's a beautiful Friday morning outside of Baltimore, Maryland. The heat wave is down a little bit, humidity is very nice. Smoking my Matches commemorative 673 KS, and in it some Erlenmeyer Flake. Prefer the Erlenmeyer Flake over the Erlenmeyer mixture. To me, there's a substantial difference, and prefer the flake over the mixture. So, it's Friday, story time. I guess I'd like to talk about a little bit about perception and perspective. And I guess a kind of amusing little example of that, of how we have our intrinsic perceptions and perspectives on things, is many years ago. I was working with a company, and unfortunately, due to financial situation, the company was doing layoffs, and there was a string of layoffs, and on this one particular Friday, I was laid off, and my good friend who was working at the company was also laid off. So the company was really nice about it. We knew that they had to do it. Anyway, so I got with my friend. His name's Peter. And I said, why don't you come back to my place and we will, grab a pizza, a bottle of wine or something like that and figure out what we want to do now that we're both laid off. So that's what we did. So while scoffing down some pizza and drinking some wine, we started to think about, hey, we both unencumbered. We weren't, either one of us were married or had girlfriends or in a relationship of any kind. Maybe we can take a little bit of time and go do something really cool. So we floated the idea of maybe going to British Columbia, Canada, and doing some skiing. We were both very avid skiers at that time. Or maybe we can do a trip to the desert Southwest, do some hiking and backpacking and so forth. Maybe see the Grand Canyon, go to Bryce, Zion, Arches, that whole tier down, in that area. And after going back and forth between the skiing and the backpacking, I think we came to the realization that probably we should do the backpacking thing because it'd be a little more cost effective, and being that we were both unemployed, it's probably the smarter thing to do. So the following Monday, we both went to the unemployment office, filed for unemployment benefits. And then that Wednesday, he came over and we loaded up my car. We had gotten other provisions early that week. And we pulled out at midnight, Wednesday night, Thursday morning, whatever you want to define that as. And we started to head west. And we drove. And we drove. Drove some more. And 24 hours later, we were in Oklahoma City. And we gassed up in Oklahoma City and continued our journey. Well, just outside Oklahoma City, ran into one of those, Midwest, desert Southwest severe thunderstorms. Never been in one of those before. There was like umbrella lightning coming down, hitting, all over the place. Big bolts of lightning coming down, pouring rain. Really upset driving through that. And mind you, we've already been driving for well over 24 hours at this point. And finally found a little glimmer of lights in the middle of nowhere in the middle of the night. It was a truck rest stop, and we decided to get off the road and try to wait out the storm a little bit. So we did. Took about a 2-hour nap, I guess it was. And woke up and said, okay, let's keep going. The storm, the worst of the storm, definitely had passed us. It was still raining out, but we kept going. Came about to watch the sunrise. We were probably in the Texas Panhandle area when the sun started to come up. Come on, lighter. Just filled it. It was a little damp. So, entered into New Mexico. And one thing we didn't anticipate seeing, but it kind of popped up on us, was the petrified forest. So we said, hey, let's just jump off and go check that out. So we did, putted around there for a few hours. And then we decided that let's keep going, and we'll find a little place, a hotel, and we'll get a good night's sleep. Maybe find some real food, because we've been munching out of garbage in the paper bag in the back seat of the car for the past, over a day. So we ended up in a little town of Holbrook, Arizona. It was a few hours away from the Grand Canyon, which was going to be our first stop. So we decided we'll take a hotel room, get a shower, get some real food, get a good rest, and we'll get to the Grand Canyon. So found this little hotel in Holbrook, Arizona. And we were thrilled, because right next to it was a Kentucky Fried Chicken. And that was real food to us at this point. So we checked into the hotel, got our room, and then walked over to the Kentucky Fried Chicken place. And waiting in a, small line, waiting to place the order. Very nice lady comes up behind me. It strikes up a conversation. Hi, how you doing? Blah, blah, blah. Having my New York accent. She detected I wasn't from the area. And so, told her I was from Long Island, New York. And her next question to me was, oh, are you heading west? I paused. And I kind of looked at her. And now here we've been on the road for, 36 hours plus. And so I looked at her and I said, I hate to think I came all this way from Long Island, New York, and I'm in Arizona. I'm not west yet. And she kind of paused. And she started to laugh. And she kind of nodded at me, and I think that was just a really interesting example of how each and every one of us has our own perceptions and our own perspectives. And for her, living in Arizona, being a local, this wasn't west to her. But she changed her thought process. And she acknowledged that. And I think that's a kind of a small, valuable lesson that maybe all of us can do better at, is we all have our preconceived perceptions and perspectives. And when we're speaking to others, we should recognize that those other people have their own preconceived perspectives and perceptions. And we should be able to have a dialogue about that. And perhaps change our own perceptions and perspectives, and learn that just because we have these intrinsic thoughts in ourselves, that doesn't mean we can't change those thoughts. That doesn't mean we can't learn from others, and instead of being so steadfast in our own beliefs. And unfortunately, I think that's a condition that we find ourselves in these days, is that we're not receptive to others for whatever reasons. And I'm not so sure that's a great way to be. So she changed her perspective, her perception of who we were and what West was. Um, I think we can do the same. So, anyway, you know, we did take that hotel room. We enjoyed our Kentucky Fried Chicken. We got up the next day. We left very, very early, got to the Grand Canyon at sunrise. Beautiful sunrise over the Grand Canyon. We did do our backpacking in the Grand Canyon. We went to Zion, did backpacking in Zion. Went to Bryce Canyon. We did a lot of hiking in Bryce Canyon. We went to Arches. Um, did a side excursion that we didn't plan on to Las Vegas. It was my only time really that I was in Las Vegas. I mean, I am going to the Vegas Pipe Show, so it'll be my second time to Vegas. But I went to Vegas, but to get there, also drove over the Hoover Dam. So it was really kind of a very cool trip overall, and I'm very glad we took the opportunity to do it. It was about 3 weeks. But again, the takeaway from this story, if you will, is again our preconceived perspective. I keep mincing the words together: perspective and perceptions, and how I think we can change those. And at times, I think we really should. So, until we talk again, be well, be safe, and most importantly, let's all be good to one another. Thanks for listening. We'll talk to you again very soon. Bye for now.